Welcome to UnPack-It, the unruly and inappropriate series where former cult kids read the books of their former cult. I'm Patty, and I'm here with my sister Nancy. The two of us make up the Apostate sisters. And joining us is the magnificent Joel. Joel runs MisterDiffiCULT on TikTok and on YouTube. Content creator extraordinaire. And we're so happy that he's here with us.
Yes.
Yay!
Happy
Welcome,
to be here.
everybody.
Hi.
Okay.
All right. Should I kick this off? Reading.
Oh, kick it.
So just for any listeners, we're in chapter 4. In the version we're in, we're on page 37. Chapter 4, a little ways in on the Who is Yahweh section. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on page 45.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
I mean, it depends on the version. This book is available for free in a number of different places, and so depending on where you're at, yeah. Chapter 4 is very long, and that's why we are picking up where we left off midway.
How long?
You tell me, Joel.
Y'all are a problem.
I know.
It's a problem I like to have, though, so we can continue.
Yes. All right. Okay. Let's get this kicked off. In chapter 4, who is Yahweh? It has been explained that in Genesis 1:1, the word for God in the Hebrew, the language in which it was originally written, is Elohim, meaning more than one person forming one God. The one God family or the God kingdom for God is a kingdom. But now, when the historic account first begins to record the fact of God as an individual, speaking to the man he created, a new and different Hebrew name is used. In Genesis 2:15, the English words Lord God are translated from the Hebrew Yahweh Elohim. The Hebrew Elohim already has been defined as a uniplural. It is the plural of El or Eloah, meaning the uniplural God, strength, might, deity.
Okay, we need the expert's opinion on all of that.
Joel?
He's right. He's actually right here. The only thing I have an issue with personally, but that's just a personal thing, is the concept of Elohim being more than one at the very beginning. I believe it's a fluid word, so it sometimes is singular, sometimes is plural. So, that's basically it. I have a different interpretation of what the plural form is, but besides that, no, I agree with him here.
Okay.
I actually agree.
Sorry about the lawnmower. You guys hear that? Because I live in the land of lawnmowers, and I have my neighbor doing his thing that's once every 3 days, I think he mows it.
Fuck.
Yeah, the dude goes camping and then like an hour away, and then he comes back and he mows the lawn and then goes back for camping.
Okay, honestly, the human effort that gets put into lawns, which don't do anything for people except the occasional one we need for like volleyball or something, like why? It is a totally unnecessary crop that we grow all over the fucking place.
Yeah, I don't really know why we need.
I have European friends that are like, why? Why do you even do it? Although some Europeans do it, but I'm talking particularly French friends of mine who are like, I see no point.
I can tell you why. It's because the English lords were so rich that they had to show everyone how rich they were and be like, look, I have so much land. I can make this land that's like not fucking useful to anybody. It's just for fun and pretties. And that shows how rich I am because all of y'all are like scrabbling by on the tiny little bits of land you have. It's like an elitist fucking dick move. And all of us in this country are still trying to replicate it. Yeah. What the heck? Like even the shittiest little house in the shittiest little back corner of the shittiest little town in the United States, and people are still trying to have a lawn to emulate the English lords from hundreds of years ago. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
All right. Should I get off my soapbox now?
You should tell us how you really feel, Pats. I just wanted to know you shouldn't bottle it up.
I know. No, why am I holding back so much?
This is what we do, Pats. We go off on tangents. I loved your house in Minneapolis because your whole front lawn was a garden. Why not do that instead of something else? I know maybe you had some neighbors that were kind of a little bit rude to you about that, or like they just
I
thought
don't
it
know.
was kind of weird that you had a
Actually,
garden.
they
Like,
liked it. When I
you're
had 40
feeding your
pumpkins in my front yard, they thought it was cool. So
we should be doing that. It takes me like
yeah.
at least 2 hours to mow one fucking lawn, and we have 2 properties. It's
Yep.
ridiculous.
hmm One of the first little bits of graffiti, not first, but I was in the bathrooms at a park in Portland when I first moved here, and there was little graffiti on the like somewhere in the bathroom that said grow food, not lawns. And I
Oh,
was like, okay, if the graffiti here says things like that, I am
yes.
in the right place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, we can go back to the book. I'm sorry. I will rant about the English lords and the fucked up things that we still do because of them at some other point.
But sorry, we went off on that tangent because I have a neighbor right now that I think you guys can even hear, right? It sounds like an airplane. And then you have to do the edging and all that. Get the weeds. It's ridiculous. I haven't even planted my garden for the what?
I'm sorry, Nancy. You're
Edging.
making this you're making this with a couple of total juveniles. Because you just said edging, and Joel and I were both like, I'm sorry. We're reading a book about sex. I can't help it.
I know.
Okay.
Surprisingly, my mind did not go there when yours did.
Surprisingly, I know.
I was thinking about lawn. I was thinking about bush. Anyway. Yeah. Okay, well, hopefully he'll be done soon. Let's continue on. Where was I? Joel, feel free to jump in here anytime you want because I know you are a language expert, especially in Hebrew. So
yeah, I'm not really an expert, just definitely a nerd. I would say, but yeah, I will if I see a problem.
I have a question for you, Joel. You say you're not a language expert, so what would it take for you to consider yourself an expert? Because you seem to know a lot, and anything you don't know, you study and you figure out. So what makes you an expert? What would make you an expert?
I guess the thing is like the typical cultural norm of having the credentials behind me. Like for example, like when I did biblical Hebrew, I purposefully did not get it accredited. I did 5 full like university semesters from a subsidiary of the Hebrew Institute of Biblical. I'm sorry, it's the Israel Institute of Biblical Studies through Hebrew University, but I just never got it accredited.
Okay. I think, yeah, we still live in a world where if you have an accreditation, if you have degrees, somehow seems you're more legit.
I say the proof is in the Joel pudding. Sorry. You're an expert.
But if I see something I disagree with, I'll let you know. But I will say, as an expert, I actually don't have all the answers. So I will say you have experience when I say I don't know.
Okay, fair.
And a good expert will do that. So
yes,
you're on track. Yeah.
In fact, I think a good expert loves to be proven wrong, and then so that they can learn. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. And I do love to be proven wrong. It's like I'm very much open to be proven wrong.
Right. But I just wish more people would be open to conversations instead of just trying to prove their point to people. Yeah. Yep. I like that. Okay. But Yahweh is a name meaning the ever-living or the eternal. There is no one word in the English language that translates it exactly. God always names things or people what they are. Actually, Yahweh means the self-existent, ever-living, eternally living, creating one. Personally, in the English, I prefer the name the eternal, as most nearly translating the Hebrew name into modern idiom.
I think that's BS. I think that's BS. Keep reading. I'm gonna check something. Go ahead.
Go for it. Thank you. This is not the place for a long, technical, theological explanation. It would require a long chapter or more on the one subject. But in many places in the New Testament, you may find quotations from the Old Testament referring to Jesus Christ, where, on turning to the Old Testament passage from which it is a citation, it speaks of Yahweh, translated as the Lord, in the King James Version.
So I just checked it to be sure. He's dead wrong about what Yahweh means.
Okay.
So there is the word Moses. No one really knows where that comes from. But in the Bible, it says it's based on the word to draw out, like to draw something out of, like, for example, water. Like Moses was drawn out of water. But that's like a false correlation. It's not real. That's not true etymology there. But with Yahweh, no one knows, actually. It is a name. It could potentially be he is, like very, very many people say it's like he is that he is. But it could also be, or like he will be, but it can also just be a name that potentially means something else, but no one knows exactly. So that's the thing. No one knows the etymology of it. So for him to say with such distinction, it means everlasting. No, it doesn't, because there's actually a very adequate Hebrew way of saying everlasting, and that's not it.
Okay, interesting. Joel, I did come across one time that God's name actually means jealous. Where does that come from?
Oh, I think that's actually a quote where he says, "My name is jealous."
Okay.
Like I think he says that at one point. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, moving on. This is not the... Hang on, I already got that. In other words, and you may write in for a free article giving proof, the Lord Yahweh of the Old Testament, in nearly every case, is the Jesus Christ of the New, but as he existed prior to his birth as a human of the Virgin Mary.
That's a stretch. That's a Christian apologetic move. There's no absolute proof of that, but there some people think it's the angel of the Lord. I personally just consider that God, just God, and it's like in whatever form, it's God.
All right. In John 1:1-3, this same personage is spoken of as the Word. The Greek word the New Testament was originally written in Greek is logos, meaning word or spokesman or revelatory thought. Jesus the Christ, Messiah, is and always has been the individual person of the God kingdom who is the spokesman. But he said that he had spoken nothing to himself. The Father, which had sent him, had instructed and commanded him what to say.
What the fuck? That doesn't even make sense.
Joel, you look like you're going to
does. I am, and it's funny because I was very interested in this, and I haven't read it intentionally because I wanted to see how like my studies have brought me to where I am today compared to WCG teachings. What is this? Because it's like, okay, logos means like literally like the it can mean spoken word. It can also mean like logic. And it's like and so the word logos was actually intentionally used against Gnostic thinking in John 1. So the logos was another representation of the demiurge of Platonic thinking. So it's anyway, so it's like but what John does, or whoever wrote John, says, no, the logos that you're thinking of is actually God. It's not the demiurge. And it's like, because the word for logos, like if we say like the word of the Old Testament, it's a completely different concept, and it's translated completely differently. It's translated as rhema, not logos. So yeah, it's interesting.
Okay.
I guess I was always leaning into logos as being like I guess the logic piece, but almost study of, right? Like psychology, right? It shows up in all of the ologies. Yeah. So I always took it as like study of. Anyway.
It does. Yeah. Just like graph means writing. And so it's like if I say geography. Yeah, very much.
Graffiti and logos. Yeah. Cool. All right. Let me finish this off here in this section. The father of the God family is the head, the lawgiver, the creator.
Which head? Which head?
Yet he created everything by Jesus Christ. Christ carried out the Father's orders by speaking as the Father had directed. In the creation, he spake and it was done. The Holy Spirit is the power that produced what he commanded. Thus, in John 1:3, all things were made by him, by the Logos or Word, who is Jesus Christ. The specific person of the Godhead who spoke to Adam then was Yahweh, the eternal, often falsely translated Jehovah, who became Jesus Christ. So he's saying that Jehovah is incorrect?
That's a whole thing.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, this is
You got
getting really
time?
cramped packed. We're barely getting anywhere.
But is this Armstrong trying to be like, well, I know everyone thinks we're like Jehovah's Witnesses, but like we're not, because Jehovah is like so not the right way to say it. Is that what he's doing with that? Just a little bit?
I've always known that Jehovah was an incorrect rendition, but which is true. But maybe, I don't know. I honestly, just as much as he said he wasn't associated with the Seventh-day Adventists, but the thing about Jehovah is when if you look at Yahweh, which is written here as YHWH, you got the J in Jehovah, then you also have an H, and you have a V instead of a W, and then you have an H. Then you have the vowels in between them, which is a rendition of when you come across the I always mess up the word, the tetragrammaton or whatever it's called.
Tetragrammaton.
Tetragrammaton. I always mess up that word. So it's like when you come across it in Hebrew, they will write the vowels for Adonai. So what they did was they took the vowels of Adonai and then they put it between the letters of JHVH, and that's where you get Jehovah. And the E comes from a soft vowel, so it's kind of like a schwa, and and so it's like you could say Jehovah, and so that's where they think you get it from, like Adonai, or anyway, it's a whole thing. But the whole thing about speaking, I just have to say, I had a really bad image come up in my head because there's an Egyptian god, I think it's either Ptah or Atum, I forget which one, but in their creation story, he ejaculates. And that's what causes life, basically. And then it's like, well, actually, no, when he ejaculates, he creates two gods. One of them is moisture and one of them is dryness, I think. And then like one spits or whatever. And it's funny because it's like when he says, talking about the head, and I'm like, which head? And then he causes Jesus Christ to come, which is all this stuff. And I was just dying when Nancy was reading it.
The dryness and wetness thing, or whatever you were talking about, sounds a little yin yang too.
Very much,
like,
very
right?
much.
Because in yin yang, they're each like putting a little bit of themselves into the other, right? The black dot
right,
and the
and
white.
the same thing happens in Egypt with the mound and the sea. So they believed that they had that the mound rose up from the water. But it was like the friction of the going back and forth with the water created life. It was like a sexual movement. So yeah.
Oh, why do I kind of like that?
Gee, you beat some shit out of me.
I like their cosmology. I think it's really fascinating.
Yeah. Huh.
Joel, when you said the word Adonai, a particular song came into my head. Maybe you've heard it. El Shaddai, El Shaddai.
But El Shaddai, that's closer to Almighty. No one quite knows what Shaddai means, but the assumption is that it means like Almighty or everlasting or something along those lines. But no one knows for sure.
No. It's amazing, Pat, how these songs have stuck in our heads just because we learn them as children, kind of like a language.
I think that's how music is, though. There's something about the tonal frequency-ness that like works in our brain.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
So should I move on with Genesis hits the high spots, or does someone else want to take the high spots? Patty?
I don't know. All I see is G-spot in that title, so okay. I can read it.
I might be losing my shit when it comes to Armstrong. Like, I feel like I eat, sleep, and breathe Armstrong after this timeline. So I was looking at this box in my living room that my husband had. You see it? I glanced at it real quickly, and all I saw was Armstrong.
Okay, I'm going to read the G-spots. I mean, Genesis hits high spots.
Oh, yeah.
High spots? Yeah. Are we high, or are we talking about G-spots? I'm not sure. Can we do both?
Are you high?
Okay. Nope.
Okay.
Stone
I don't
Cold
even have
Sober.
alcohol. What's wrong?
Oh yeah, that's
I don't
the
have-
other series though.
That's the other series. Yes.
Bourbon and Spectacles. Yeah.
But I did want to say there have been some people that asked, "Oh, why are we so obsessed with Armstrong and the Worldwide Church of God?" To that, all I say is we're trying to figure out why our parents are so obsessed with it. There you go.
And for me personally, because I so fervently believed it, it's like I have no problem tearing it apart because it used to be my entire existence. So
there you go.
Yep.
And it's the entire existence of many people still. So I want to understand why we don't have a proper like relationship with our parents. So this was the closest that we could get. So, and I do feel like we've gotten a lot out of it. So no regrets on that for sure. But moving on to other topics. Pats, go ahead. Continue reading.
All right. Okay. All right. Genesis hits high spots. The second important point I wish to stress at this juncture is the fact that God has not seen fit to give us the full details of all that was said and done in these first few chapters of Genesis. The inspired record in these chapters reveals to us only the briefest summary. Yeah, not like it didn't actually happen and it's just stories, but no, it's just a little bit God wanted to give you. Just,
just the tip.
Just the tip. Yet, this abbreviated account does summarize what was said and done. It does tell us that God, in and through the person of Christ, immediately began to teach, instruct, and command the first man and woman. I just don't get how he's putting Christ into Genesis because, that doesn't make sense, but okay. It hits the high spots. And even through the record omits the details. It spans the fields covered. Much of the detailed instruction, therefore, may be accurately filled in from other parts of the Bible. Just pay attention, everyone. I'm going to cherry pick at will. What fields, then, did God cover in teaching our first parents? He gave them all essential spiritual truth. He revealed to them the true gospel. He revealed his spiritual law, his way of life. He revealed man's transcendent potential, the gift of eternal life. And he also instructed them in all necessary physical knowledge, including knowledge of the marriage institution and of sex. Really? All physical knowledge? What?
He pulled it out of his ass.
Oh, he completely pulled every bit of that out of his ass. No such things are shared in Genesis.
Nope.
No. And he's saying it's not all there, but if I grab a few phrases from other parts in the Bible and then tell you to think about it in this context, I'll make it all be there because I can see how God really did share it all.
He is
he really is, and this is my thing too. Does he mean to say, now I can't tell by the way that the text is framed with his caps and all that nonsense. Is he saying that the true gospel is the spiritual law? Is that what he's saying? Because that's not the gospel.
I feel like this is exactly the same as what he's been saying in the book, but somehow he's tying Jesus into this mix now. He's trying to tie Jesus in here.
Because it's that the whole gospel, what is the good news is the coming kingdom. That's it. And then he said this in his videos, the gospel of the kingdom of God. So that's why I was like, is he saying that keeping the law is the true gospel? That's why I was confused there. Yep.
He plays intentionally fast and loose with the words to catch triggers that people are waiting for. That is just this guy's game. Okay.
Patty, did you say fast and loose on purpose?
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I'm gonna get down and dirty with this because he loves to inject little phrases here and there. So here I go. I'm getting down and dirty with them.
Gulp.
You're saying he inserts things all willy-nilly? Willy-nilly inserting?
And it's you don't even notice it because it's so small and insignificant. So
Right. I'm just like, is it in yet? I don't know.
He's probably gotten asked that a lot in his life. Sorry.
I
continue
should go
reading?
back to King Rehoboam. I should go back to King Rehoboam in First Kings, where he says, "My little finger is bigger than my mother's waist."
I guess
Sorry.
he didn't mean little finger in that. Is that what you're saying? Did he mean his penis, Joel? Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to keep reading. All right. The 2 trees in the Garden of Eden were symbols representing vitally important truths. Actual literal trees, though they well may have been, they were symbolic and of tremendous significance. So he's just trying to double dip on here. He's trying to say they're symbolic and they were real.
It is a double dip. I absolutely see that. But the way I see it is they were purely symbolic.
Well, sure. I mean, fuck.
Because humans are called trees in the Bible too. So anyway.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, so we're a race of Ents, really? Got it.
Okay. Why do we have seed? Why do we have seed? Why is it? And when you read Psalm 1, it's like, happy is the man who was like a tree planted by the water. And so it's like there's a lot of reference to humans being trees, or at least conceived as trees.
I must say, I am very glad that we are covering this in such detail. It is very important for the progression of humankind.
I'm just enjoying Joel's face right now.
I'm glad you
so
enjoyed
true,
it,
though. I love that Nancy hit it dead on. I love this stuff, but yeah, it can be very dry.
Yeah.
Just like every one of Armstrong's wives. Okay.
Oh!
No lube. None.
All right.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm going to read now.
Okay, please.
Notice. One of the many trees in the garden was the tree of life, also in the midst of the garden. This tree symbolized God's gift of the Holy Spirit. Freely, God, in the person of Christ, offered this supreme gift. The eternal God commanded the man, saying, "Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but excluding the tree of knowledge of good and evil." In other words, God offered him freely his Holy Spirit. "But," continued God, "of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die." I notice it says in the day. Anyway, I still take beef with all that, but whatever. Here, in the briefest...
I want to hear it. What do you mean beef in the day?
What's up? The fact that God says you're going to die if you, like, in the day that you eat of this fruit, you're going to die.
Yes.
And then they fucking don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's actually a reason for that. And everyone I talk to, and I'm like showing them like this stuff that's very contextually sound, everyone rejects it because they go for the common apologetic. Oh, a day is like 1,000 years, or a day, and goes, no, he just means spiritual death. It's like, no.
Right.
Do you remember
That's the one
what
I've
he
heard.
did?
Yeah.
He kills animals and covers their shame. He reneges what he said. He negs on what he says. He kills animals in their stead, and he covers them. And that's they were supposed to die that day, and he killed animals instead. And I understand like the beef with that. Like, don't get me wrong, but that's the symbol there. And so that's later on when they do animal sacrifice and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then you have later on Christ. But like, yeah, that's the concept, is covering.
Sure, I can get on board with that as the answer. Put that next to God is the same today, yesterday. That's fine.
It's funny. You get on board with it. None of my Christian friends do. And I'm like, well, the text is saying.
But I don't think it matters to my
no, of course
long term, but my eternal survival or anything, right? Like,
right.
yeah.
No, but I have no problem poking holes in the apologetics. It's like, yeah, please tell me where it actually even talks about that. Because like if we're looking at Genesis 1 and you look at it as a literal text, why do you look at Genesis 1 as a literal text, but yet say, no, in this day, it's just 1,000 years?
Right. Well, or the idea of what you're saying could be refuted by saying God is the same today, yesterday, and forever, or whatever that whole idea is. It's like, and you're
And
pointing
then I would
out
counter,
that
we're
changed
getting
his
into
mind.
Armstrong. We're getting into Armstrong debate now. So so this is what I have counter arguments to it. So it's like you list that, bam, I have one right on top of it, which is okay. So please tell me how he changed his mind when Moses was talking to him.
Huh?
So he was going to destroy all of Israel, but Moses got him to change his mind.
Another good example.
And so it's like, if he's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, how does he change his mind? Or
Right,
is it
but
just
isn't that what it says in there, Joel?
it does say that he changed his mind, but it does say it means he's the same being. I'm the same Joel that I was when I was 1 year. Like I'm technically the same being. It's just there's a lot of change and development over the years. So
Except even humans, did you know every single cell in our body turns over between 7 and 10 years? So like, are you the same? This is a question I ask myself a lot,
and
actually.
define that. Same concept.
Yes.
It's like when you touch your hand, you're not really touching your hand. So
I know.
it's really crazy stuff like that. I love that stuff.
I was gonna say that kind of thing is as close as I get to spirituality, honestly. Like the things that I can't really explain or that are a little bit mind-blowing, but yet they are either related to scientific things that are known or unknown. I'm super into that.
Yeah.
You just went all grainy. So actually earlier I downgraded the quality of my video because I noticed I was getting jerky.
Okay. Here in the briefest condensation, we find the teaching of the gospel that the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. The Bible says all have sinned, and Adam sinned first of all. God could not have allowed Adam to sin without having first taught Adam what is sin. The Bible definition of sin is: sin is the transgression of the law. And again, sin is the conscious, knowing transgression. For to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. Adam knew about God's law, for Adam sinned. Therefore, definitely, God instructed Adam and Eve about his great basic spiritual law, God's way of life. And that instruction was given immediately of necessity before they sinned. On the physical plane, God instructed them in regard to food, and he also instructed them in regard to sex.
He made an error because he said, knowing
Obviously.
transgression, for to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. True. But there is also a type of offering that is made for unintentional sin to cover something that you don't know you did.
So that would contradict this, because he's kind of saying God gives a pass if you didn't know. Yeah. What is the phrase in common parlance? Ignorance is something of the law.
Bliss. Oh, I thought it was ignorance.
My mind went there too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean that's true too. But there,
I think of the Matrix when he's like eating the steak and he goes, "Ignorance is bliss." But anyway.
Oh my God! Right.
All right. So here one thing. Okay, original sex education. All right. Come together, boys and girls. We're gonna have original sex education. Okay.
Teach me how it's done, Uncle Joel.
He would know better than anyone. As we discussed in previous episodes.
So here once again we begin at the beginning. Oh Jesus. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. We already talked about this. And God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. God made mankind male and female. God created sex in humans, and God said it was very good. Not
That
and
was
just for
large
everyone,
cap.
it was the biggest caps and italics I have seen in this book yet. Okay, so God said it was very good. Not evil, shameful, degrading, or sinful in itself. Only wrong use becomes sinful. You'll go blind. God created sex for use. Had he not intended sex to be used, he would not have designed it. In the angel family, God did not intend sex to be used, so he did not design angels to be male and female. Angels have no sex apparatus, perform no sex function, do not reproduce. If the creator
So hey,
designed...
that means the movie Dogma aligns with Armstrong on this.
Right, it does
Like
actually,
smooth
yeah.
like a Ken doll.
Yeah, and like also they can't drink. What was it? They can't drink alcohol, so he just swigs it and spits it out. I love it. I just remember Alan Rickman going fish, and then she was just like a fish. So, if the creator designed human sex anatomy and set in motion human sex stimuli and capacity for functioning, he did it for definite purposes. And God I am not emphasizing the caps anymore. I'm tired of it. And God most assuredly did not neglect his responsibility of revealing to that first man and woman the right purposes this functioning within their bodies and minds was to serve. Word vomit. The Genesis account, I repeat, is the briefest summary, yet the basic nature of the creator's original instruction is plain, and the full details are brought out for mankind through other portions of the Bible. I believe he could have published this book without that entire section.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a lot of repeat. It's pretty boring. I have to wonder, Joel, are there Christians out there that they get so excited about the Bible that when they keep hearing the same passages over and over, they still have the same amount of enthusiasm and passion as they did the first time they heard it?
I think it
It's
depends
a
on the
conditioning
passage.
Don't you think it's just a conditioned response reinforcement process that's going on here?
Yeah, all that.
Yeah, probably. But like for me, like one of my favorite Psalms when I was going through Ringers is Psalm 130, which is the famous one, out of the depths I cry to you. And that's I love that one. And it's actually one of my favorite ones put to music by Bach. And it's like, yeah, so I do, for certain passages, I do get similar feelings every time, but not every time. And so, but I do know of some that just like whenever like someone starts reading from the word, it's almost like this ethereal moment or something like that, where it's just like, he's reading from the Bible. It's like, yeah, let's whip out the genealogies and see how involved you are, or like the decoration of the temple, or
also one of my favorite quotes back in the day was, "Not all those who wander are lost." And it came out a few years ago, I think, but then I started seeing it everywhere. I really resonated with it, but the fact that it just kind of was saturated in our culture for so long, I saw coasters, I saw that time period where people started putting quotes all over their house. Some people still do. It's like
live, laugh, love.
Yes. That's what I was thinking of. Live, laugh, love. Yes. But then people just started putting words all over their house to indicate literally everything. Fridge, wall, laundry, all that. It was around the same time period, but I'm just saying, I don't know if it's even one of my favorite quotes anymore because it's been so overused. I'm just kind of over it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one I've seen a lot of is as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. That's a very popular one. But you were talking about like the fridge and stuff like that. The only time I know people doing that is like when they're trying to teach children how to read. So like that's what I am familiar with. But
okay.
But in terms of like it's like you got like these Bible verses and stuff like that. It's like I should like start putting like some of the more scandalous Bible verses like up on my wall. And I should
No, why don't you do the whole cliche, get a tattoo of the passage that tells you not to get tattoos?
Oh,
I love that.
I might.
Yeah.
That is the
I've seen that
idea.
one before. Yeah.
I want it. Okay. Yeah.
Funny.
I actually just might do that because that's the whole reason why I got a tattoo in the first place.
Was because the Bible told you not to?
Kind of,
Joel.
sort of. It was like half and half. It was like my dedication to the Lord and also my rejection of traditionalism. So,
Joel,
yeah,
may I just say, oh my God, I love you so much. You are definitely the weirdest Christian I've ever met, though. Like, unusual.
So, thank you.
The things you believe and don't believe, they don't make any sense to me. But guess what? I love you, and I love your take on all this.
This computer refuses to do it. It refuses. It absolutely refuses, no matter how hard I try. But thank you. Thank you. I'll actually take that compliment. Yeah, thank you.
Yay.
That's good. You're not mainstream Christian. I mean, you sometimes I have no idea what your stance is, and you never fail to shock me, my dear. You never fail to shock me. Okay.
Well, maybe I should get naked. That will shock you.
Not really.
It would shock me.
Nothing I haven't seen before, honey.
Well, not this particular one, okay?
Okay.
Well, that'll be another level of our relationship.
Wow.
I made him disappear.
Maybe we actually embarrassed Joel. That would be something, wouldn't it?
Did we?
You actually didn't.
I don't know. And Nancy and me are.
Okay.
I think you're still finishing a section, or what? Where are we?
I finished. I came fast.
Okay. You finished fast? Okay.
So we're back to Nancy for.
I came fast. I read fast. I got done really fast.
All right. Moving on to the next section. Creation still going on. Remember, before proceeding, God's overall purpose for humanity. God said, "Let us make man in our image." Man, as previously stated, was created physical, out of matter, in the likeness of God. But as of now, man is merely the raw clay. No, hold on. I know what you're going to say. Out of which the master potter is, with man's yielding, forming and shaping the final image, the spiritual character of God. All right, Joel, go ahead. I know you're.
Yes, there is a section that says that he's the potter, we are the clay. Yes, I absolutely get that, but that means he molds us individuals. When it talks about the creation, I mean, it is dry land. That is a big distinguishing feature between them and all other surrounding cultures. Anyway.
Okay. Patty, I love the dark lipstick, by the way. I just wanted to tell you.
It's the one you gave me. Thank you. I love it so much. Yeah.
I might just have to get lipstick for the next time.
Creation is still going on. The spiritual creation of righteous character. The New Testament reveals that one man has surrendered, repented of his rebellious past, and through Christ has been reconciled into contact with God. He, in all caps, becomes a new creation. This creation of right spiritual character in us demanded free moral agency. Like hardening a pharaoh's heart in Egypt, perhaps? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like free agency to me.
That man must intelligently choose the right as opposed to the wrong. That he exercise free choice, develop self-discipline. God designed and created sex for right, wholesome, and holy functions.
Wholesome and holy, huh? Yeah, like that, Joel. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. Oh, God.
What am I looking at? But in the process of character development, God allows man, if man rebels and so wills, to pollute, besmirch, befoul, and pervert that which God intended to bring rich blessings. But wrong uses impose curses. God made his truth available. God instructed the first man and woman. We know you've said 20 fucking times. He commanded that they travel the right road. But they and their children universally ever after them rebelled and chose to travel the wrong road, the way that somehow seems better to a man, but which leads him into pain, suffering, sorrow, and death.
I feel like God did a pretty bad job of creating our like reasoning capabilities then that he could share with us all of the right ways, and we're just like, nope, we don't understand. Like, hey, maybe you should have made our brains better then, dummy.
So it's like, if we were truly created in likeness, then what does that say about him? When
True.
we
Good question.
Huh.
But why is he using like British English here?
Where?
Well,
No, I'm just looking where because I just wanted to see where it was.
universally doesn't have two L's in it, does it?
Oh, it does. It does. Yep.
And
Universal.
rebelled also does?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
my bad.
Because it's stressed. So the American rule is when it's stressed, then it's doubled.
Okay.
So that's why traveled only has one L, and canceled only is supposed to have one L, but we've also adopted the British way to have two L's. So it's like that's when it's no stress, then it's not doubled usually.
Interesting. Okay. Let me finish out this little bit here. Let me put it in the rest of the way. So God did instruct the first man and woman in the intended, right, wholesome, happiness-producing, uplifting purposes of sex. The passage quoted above, God commanded sex to be used for reproduction. He said, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth.
So I can't help but notice that the wrong uses of sex, according to Herbert's way of thinking about God's intentions there, says that wrong uses imposes curses, and humans tend to pollute, besmirch, befoul, and pervert. So I'm curious what his thoughts were on when he was in that court case for being accused of stooping his daughter. Was that the right way? Is that how that goes? That's like cool? I don't know. Just saying. It's like real. That happened.
Well,
did you know that he is reported to have said that what he was doing there was making sure that his daughter understood what it was to be with a real man?
Oh God!
I've heard that.
Who said what? Like, did he say that? Because I haven't actually read the court filing, so I actually would like to read.
I haven't either.
Oh, you can find them online. No problem. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because this is the thing about like that. It's like I do believe in the concept of innocent until proven guilty. But just like the way that he actually like it was, it's like I lean toward he probably did, but it's like I can't say for sure. But I would be very interested to know what his attorney said in his defense.
Yeah, there you go.
Just I did read some transcripts from that court case, and there was a point in which it had come up, and because of some sort of disclosures stating that, hey, we're not going to talk about this, and then his ex-wife Ramona gets more money and property, it was automatically like dismissed. So they don't really go into detail about that, but it does come up.
Yeah, if he just wants it to go under the rug like that, it's indicative.
Right.
Agreed.
Right.
Yep. All the shit that happens in the dark, bring it into the fucking light, bitches.
Indicative.
Indicative. Is that what you're catching? Yeah. All right. Shall I?
Yes.
Okay. Special meaning of human reproduction. Now, and as the sole member of this little group that has reproduced humans, this seems appropriate. Okay.
No, Joe still has some coming, right?
No, I think Nancy does.
No.
Get on that, you two.
No. Nope. You want to have children together, Joel?
She's the one that physically can. I would have to go through IDF or whatever. IDF? Is it IDF?
No, I can't physically because my husband has had a vasectomy, and that to me is a done deal.
Well, I mean, you can still bear.
Okay. I'm gonna read now.
Okay.
Special meaning of human reproduction. So one of the purposes of sex in humans is reproduction.
Wait, he just said it was the sole purpose a moment ago.
I know. Now he said it's one of. Stay with the program, Nancy. Come on, keep up.
Yeah.
Now reproduction. Oh, wait. But that is far, far from the only purpose. So not the sole purpose as said in the previous paragraph, as we shall see later.
Yep.
Now reproduction, merely as such, is of course common to animals and plants as well as humans. But in humans, reproduction has a sacred and God plane, meaning not applicable to any other kind of life. Because we're special. In case you didn't catch that, we're super special.
Patty, you forgot to say that was in all caps. The entire sentence was in all caps.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
At least in my version, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's so willy-nilly what's caps and what's italicized and blah, blah, blah.
A capital G and a capital B, like an extra large cap. It's crazy.
Yeah. He's just trying to like hit dopamine receptors in brains, I think. We shall see later that the birth of a human baby differs in striking manner from that of animals. Really? Nah, bro. It was kind of.
There is evidence of other animals having extreme pain during birthing, but not every animal. But it's like, some of them are extremely uncomfortable, and it's not easy. But
unlike a panda. I mean, but every creature does it different. Like pandas give birth to them when they're like this big and they're little pink worms, and the little pink worm crawls up their fur and and gets into a pocket to finish its stuff, finish its growing. Yeah, but there's all different ways. Like, sorry, if you look at other primates, we kind of do it like primates do it. Well, we do it like primates do it, and we birth like primates birth. What?
Right. Yeah, but is it painful for them? Is it like really difficult for them to give birth? I don't know. I know it is for like certain animals, like certain types of horses and stuff like that is extremely painful. But
well, sure, but we're used to knowing what pain looks like on other humans' faces, and animals don't. Like most animals don't have that kind of facial expressions. But I've definitely seen an orangutan's O face. So, I mean, like, that's a thing.
I have too. And I've also seen ostriches go at it. I've told you that before. How,
You've told us about the ostriches.
Sitting there, but like the male is just doing this thing.
And I think female pigs can have like half-hour-long orgasms.
Yeah.
And so pig farmers will stimulate a female sow from behind and like rubber nipples and everything to like get her all juiced up, because this is true, they'll get her all juiced up before they insert the semen, because they found that if they juice up the female pig, it's a better chance of producing, like she'll actually produce more piglets if they get her aroused first.
Interesting.
So
would you like to be a pig farmer now?
So how is this known? Because I've also know pretty I know the details of horse insemination as well, and it's like, so how like that? It's like, so culturally speaking, we are so against bestiality, but we're totally fine with that. Explain that.
Right, but a pig farmer can just give it to a female pig to make sure they get more. I mean, but that's to get more profit. And there is a whole hell of a lot culturally that we're not okay with, that we are okay with if it brings more profit.
Yeah.
True.
In humans, there is tremendous, awe-inspiring meaning and significance to begettal and birth that is entirely non-existent with animals or plants. And God intended, had man been willing to heed God's instruction, that the very knowledge of these deep and wonderful meanings should bring man dynamic joy.
Wait, I gotta jump in here. You actually didn't miss the paragraph before that. I'm going to read it real quick. It says, we shall see later that the birth of a human baby differs in striking manner from that of animals. Animals are not born to become Animals are not born to become the very heirs of God. Yeah, we did not read that section.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing to say that in humans there is great meaning with that, like, well, sure, because of the way that our cognition has evolved. We create meaning around it. Christ.
So
Okay,
are we getting undressed now? Oh.
that'll be
I don't know. It seemed like that was the thing to do right then.
What's it like to have boobs?
What's it
That's
like
a
to
good
have balls?
question. Well, right. I mean, we both have jiggly parts hanging off the front of us, but just in different spots.
Yeah,
Right.
but ours are super wrinkly and yours aren't.
I mean, when I get old, they'll be wrinkly, probably.
Probably, yeah, but ours are always wrinkly.
That's true. Different
Really?
purposes, I guess.
You don't think the scrotum is like the most beautiful thing? God's perfect creation.
No. I really like dicks. Scrotums not so much.
Okay.
There are studies that like bashing balls, it emulates the pregnancy pain. And so because it is in the same area that we feel it. We don't feel it there. We feel it more in our gut. It's like the pain is more like here where your ovaries are. And it's really interesting that you feel it there. And it's like that's like the closest pain that we have to pregnancy. But yours is like much more elongated. So it's like for us it'd be like crushing our balls for like 24 hours.
Oh, for like birth.
Yeah. Patty's
Birth's
a
a
rock
good time.
star. She gave birth twice with no epidurals or anything.
Both at home because I'm crazy, or I was crazy. I don't know if I'd do that again, but
Patty, they've done it all throughout history. This is not.
you're right. You're right. Oh, a lot of babies have died throughout history, though.
Yes.
True,
But I
but
did-
the thing is, though, as long as you did it, as long as you did it, like with if there were medical complications, you probably would have gone to a hospital. So you weren't opposed to the idea.
Yeah, we almost did with one, and it turned out fine. But yeah, I had one land birth and one water birth at home. It was good times.
Yeah.
I pushed those little fuckers out,
Sounds
and now they're
horrifying.
bigger than me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So far as the purely physical functions of the process are concerned, reproduction is the same in mammals as in humans, because we are a mammal, bitch. That is a mere physical process, but there is deep, spiritually transcendent meaning in human begettal, gestation, and birth that raises it to an altogether and incomparably higher plane than mere animal reproduction.
I agree, but
I don't.
yeah. No, I agree.
I was an animal when I gave birth. I gave birth just like any other animal.
You did. No, what I'm saying is like going back to what we were saying is our conception of things. And I believe that our reasoning and our conception of things does elevate our experience of pregnancy to a different level than it does within animals. Like for example, yeah, you have.
How can we know? That's an internal experience of those animals.
Right.
We have language
but there
to
is
describe
something
it.
that's very much shared between animals and humans because humans are animals. And come on, is the motherly bond that unbreakable bond. Well, it can be broken, but that's like, weird instance. But yeah, that motherly bond is crazy.
Yep. And I know we'll get to this, but when baby boys are circumcised, it really gets in the way of that motherly bond. Just saying, kind of important. I know. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to keep going.
Don't be sorry. It's the truth.
It's the truth. Needs to be said. Okay. Human children are begotten through sex and IVF. And that very begettal, period of gestation and birth of a human baby gives us the very picture of the spiritual salvation and the gift of eternal life made possible through Jesus Christ. How? Nope. You're just saying shit. All right. This is another reason Satan seeks to deceive his world regarding the purposes and right attitude towards sex. By this very blinding of the world to God's purposes of sex, Satan has hidden from his world the true knowledge about God, that God is actually a family, a divine kingdom into which we may be born. He has hidden from the world the real truth of salvation, what it is, where it leads, how we receive it. This false morality, both the so-called old and the so-called new, has been a far more potent weapon for the destruction of humanity than has been realized.
So where he says what it is, where it leads, how we receive it. I mean, where do we receive it?
Wherever you like, Joel. Where do you like to receive it?
Is there a hole that it goes into?
I mean, I think there's several.
There's several
orifices that
one behind the knee, one behind the knee.
I think you're obsessed with the behind the knee. This is like 3 times you've mentioned this now, Joel.
Family Guy reference where
yes.
Family Guy reference. Yep.
Behind the knee, huh?
It was Quagmire said that he found another hole behind the knee.
It's so funny.
Of course it was Quagmire. Ew. Goodness. I love that show so much. Oh.
So, Joel, would you like to explain to us how reproduction pictures spiritual salvation?
Yay.
I'll try. Now, I'm not going to emphasize, just to disrespect him, I'm just going to read it plainly. So, doesn't deserve my emphasis with the caps. How reproduction pictures spiritual salvation. Now, see and understand how human reproduction pictures spiritual salvation. All human life comes from a tiny egg called an ovum, produced inside the human mother. This ovum is about the size of a pinpoint. Inside it, when highly magnified, can be seen a small nucleus. But this ovum has a very limited life of itself. Some doctors and scientists believe it has a life of some 24 hours unless fertilized by a sperm from a male. But human life may be imparted to it by a sperm cell reproduced in the body of the human father. By the way, I just got to say, we're finally getting somewhere with the content. We're finally getting somewhere. Anyway,
Except he's wrong. The human ovum has been in that woman's body since she was a fetus. Correct. Inside of her mother. And the sperm that fertilizes it was made in the last couple of weeks before it does that job.
Right. But Michael, I think what he's saying is, though, like when the egg is released, that's the beginning of it. It's like its birth or something like that. Like the birth of the egg is when it comes out of or when it's like inside the tract of the fallopian tube or whatever. But human life may be imparted to it by a sperm cell produced in the body of the human father. But the sperm cell is the smallest cell in the human body, about 1/50th the size of the ovum. The sperm.
But he's lying. He's wrong. He's saying that the sperm is the thing that puts life into the ovum, fucker. No, that is not true.
That's the very big argument with pro-life people, is that the moment, because it is true, when the first sperm head to enter the egg changes its chemistry instantly, and so it locks itself out of all other sperm. So it's like it's the moment one gets in like that, then the whole egg changes. And so I can see that point, but like there is life in the sperm and there's life in the ovum. And then it does create like a combined life, but that's like when all like the stuff starts happening. But yeah, I can see.
Well, it's because you get 23 chromosomes and 23 chromosomes, and then you have 46 when you put them together, and 46 is what you need to make a people.
Yeah,
it's half and half. Like fuck off, Armstrong.
So this whole thing about like it's the man that does it. It's like, yeah, well, actually, technically, it's the man that also creates the in terms of like biological gender or sex. I forget. I don't know what the right term is. But the biological version, it's like the X or the Y comes from the male. So when historically we used to blame the women for not producing men.
Just going to mention that. How many women have been killed throughout history for not giving their husband of power a male heir, when really it's the man?
So wait a second. You mean there's something from the past that what we were completely wrong about, and now we are what?
No way.
What is this?
And we learn things, and we grow, and we develop our knowledge.
Not the Bible, though. The Bible is gold. It's gold. You can't touch it.
False gold.
Fool's gold. The sperm, technically named spermatozoon, plural spermatozoa, on entering an ovum, finds its way to and joins with the nucleus. This imparts life, physical human life, to the ovum. We just covered that whole thing, yeah. But it is not.
I've never heard that full word. That's the full name for sperm is
Spermatozoon.
Spermatozoon.
Yeah, and spermatozoa. I didn't know the singular until just now.
Spermatozoa. Oh, okay, interesting.
But it is not yet a born human being. Correct. Human life has merely been begotten.
He's been playing around with that word begotten for a while.
Right, but the actual the Hebrew version of begotten means you have to actually be born to be begotten. Like you actually have to be born. So
is he playing fast and loose again?
Slightly. I'm gonna keep on reading because let's just see what happens. For the first 4 months, it is called an embryo. After that, until birth, it's called a fetus. This human life starts very small, the size of a tiny pinpoint, and the sperm that generates it is the smallest cell in the human body. Once begotten, it must be fed and nourished by physical food from the ground through the mother. From this physical nourishment, it must grow and grow and grow. And yes, he does increase, like with italics and caps. I don't care. I'm not emphasizing it. Until physically large enough to be born after 9 months. As it grows, the physical organs and characteristics gradually are formed. Soon, a spinal column forms, a heart forms and begins to beat. Other internal organs form. Finally, hair begins to grow on the head, fingernails and toenails develop. Facial features gradually shape. What?
Nothing.
Oh, okay, shape up. By 9 months, the average normal fetus has grown to a weight of approximately 6 to 9 pounds and is ready to be born. I mean, I'm so intrigued by on the whole.
Right. The fact that he's using embryo and fetus like fairly correctly and emphasizing that it's a baby once it's born is fascinating to me. Like that would piss off a bunch of evangelicals.
And we were pro-life. And WCG was pro-life.
Of course.
I mean, imagine that. There was a contradiction.
But it's funny because like people bring up the Exodus thing in Exodus 23 that says like if a man strikes a woman that's pregnant and the fetus dies, that he has to pay recompense. The thing about that is though, I've heard that argument brought up among pro-lifers, and then they discard that as like an old law, but it's the same type will turn around and say that homosexuality is an abomination because of what Leviticus says.
Same place. Yep. Yeah. None of it makes sense. It's all just using those words as weapons.
Which is my channel. Shameless plug. So my channel is based on the dangers of Armstrongism and biblical weaponization.
Yeah. And you do a fine job at it there, buddy.
You know what's funny? It really started to sink in. It's like all these Armstrongist tactics that I grew up with my entire life, I'm now able to use against them. And I'm also able, and it's like they trained the best of the best debaters, and it's like, here I come.
We have our weapon right here.
And it's funny, it's like I am unfortunately like judging their biblical knowledge already because I'm like, yeah, it's not the same. It's like the WCG people knew their stuff. And I just recently did that whole thing about like the youth and the youth indoctrination. And it's like, we knew this. We were just talking about the songs and stuff like that. It was stuck in our heads. So it's like, now it's fun to take all that stuff that has been up here and throw it back. And if it, like, yeah, let's talk now because it's like you trained me. Now let's see.
Yes.
Yes.
But now we have the power of our brains and the knowledge that we didn't have when we were children because we were taught not to. So now
that's it.
Yes. Now that we live in reality, that we can turn the tables. Shall I read? The type of spiritual salvation. Here we go. Now notice carefully the astounding comparison, not contradiction, comparison. First, understand briefly what spiritual salvation is. Few professing Christians understand this. because he would know. God said in the forbidden fruit, which is Joel, chapters of Genesis, that man is wholly composed of physical matter from the ground. How many fucking times are we going to go over this? Job said there is a spirit in man. It is explained in 1 Corinthians 2 that no man could have human comprehension, knowledge, and intellect, but by the spirit of man, which is in him. This spirit essence is not the man, but something in the holy physical man. It imparts the power of intellect to the physical brain. It marks the vast difference between animal brain and human mind, once again, separating us from animals. This spirit cannot see, hear, or think. The physical brain sees through the eye, hears through the physical ear, thinks with the physical brain. Yet this spirit acts as a computer, adding to the brain the psychic and intellectual power. It also adds to man a spiritual and moral faculty not possessed by animals. Thoughts? No?
I'm frozen for some reason, but I'm still here, and I think it's a really interesting pose that I'm frozen in, so I'm keeping it.
That is. Okay. Go for it, Joel. All right. Moving on. The human's life, however, is not supplied by this spirit. Human life is merely a temporary physical and chemical experience caused by the breathing of air, the circulation of blood by the heartbeats, and by refueling through food and water. Man's life is merely temporary physical chemical existence. Yep, you just said that. Like the life of an automobile engine or all vertebrae.
How can I make your video come back, Joel?
I don't know, but I think the pose that it's frozen in is amazing, and it makes me look really pensive. So yeah, let's keep it.
Okay. To be born again? Question mark.
To
remember.
Okay. Sorry, nothing. The phrase "born again" just makes me kind of want to vomit. I'm sorry. Continue.
Well, it's funny because I'm very curious to see if he kind of bashes the born again thing. I think he's going to be into it, but he's not going to like it. Yeah,
he's going to go back and forth.
Yeah,
because
okay.
I actually have a hot take on being born again. To me, when you're born again, like think about like when you're a child and you're born, you hate everything. You hate the world around you. It's cold. It's like you feel wetness for the first time because you were in wet and then you come out and it's like it's very uncomfortable. You're screaming and it's all bright and all these people are looking at you and it's like that's the same experience that you get when you become a Christian as well, in my opinion. Like when I all of a sudden like became really super duper Christian, that's what happened to me. So that's how I equate being born again.
Okay, so wet and naked.
Right, not knowing anything around you, it's like the whole world is different.
Right. Well, it is. I mean, I've heard it said that for some little baby bodies, it's like quite a trauma to even come out of the bag of waters because all of a sudden the gravity that the like literal gravity that the baby didn't used to feel now feels as soon as they come out of the water.
Yeah. And I think it's also symbolic when baptism is our way of being born again. And it's like you come out of a watery like thing. And it's like it really is cool and symbolic. That's why I like it. But you can have the same type of spiritual experience. And it's like you see the world differently and all of a sudden you're completely discombobulated. So yeah.
I've gone skinny dipping. That was kind of a spiritual experience.
No, I know your spiritual experience, Pat, even though you're an atheist. Yours was when you're like, when all of a sudden it's like everything's switched and it's like everything that I have been raised with is not the way I want to be. That's a spiritual experience right there. And the same thing for you too, Nancy. It's like when we hit that point, it's like everything is different again.
How do you know it's spiritual? I can't even get.
I call it spiritual. I call it spiritual.
So spiritual is really just, spiritual is really just whatever any given person defines it as, like on an individual level.
I would call it an awakening, maybe. Like even an awakening. Yeah, it's the same thing. You call it a spiritual awakening, but even you remove the word spiritual, it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, and then you see everything.
Okay. I don't even know what to make of the word spiritual, to be honest. I am someone that is so within the natural world that, I mean, I feel like people just make up whatever definition they want for spiritual.
I agree with that. I would use spiritual personally in the sense of it makes me feel kind of like woo and a little bit lightheaded, a little bit like connected to the universe around me, but it's super non-specific. I don't have anything that I attribute it to. And in general, I would say that I take spiritual as feelings or things that I don't have a scientific explanation for, but that I am totally open to that scientific explanation being figured out, because all the other things in the world that we've like wondered about, not understood how they worked, we figured out scientific explanations for them. So
dude, we call
to me, spirituality, spirit, yeah. Well, because it makes you feel a little dizzy. Same thing. Yeah. So I define spiritual as the science we haven't figured out yet.
Yeah, that's totally
Which
valid.
to me is still natural. It's not supernatural. I don't believe in supernatural. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally believe that spiritual can have a secular meaning. That's absolutely no problem. I think it's more like, dude, it's like you can't deny that we call alcohol spirits, and it's like that's how, if you want to go equate it that way, absolutely.
It makes some people angry, right? Angry drunks, like could say that that's a spirit, an angry spirit, an evil spirit of some kind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
just language, though. It's just language.
Right.
Well, we also use it in terms of like, saying that, that young person is very spirited, very high spirited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But even that goes back to the idea that they've got some sort of like, interesting spirit within them.
Yeah.
Or giving them interest. I don't know. Okay. Anyway. Spirits and spectacles. Here we go. To be born again. Remember, God told Adam and Eve that for disobedience and stealing the forbidden fruit, they would surely die.
I'm sorry, but how can we forget with the number of times he's told us?
I know. But God had offered them freely the gift of eternal life by choosing the tree of life. When they chose the forbidden fruit, God drove the man and his wife out of the garden, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. But through Christ, a repentant humanity may yet receive God's gift of eternal life. To Nicodemus, Jesus explained, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Of course, Nicodemus couldn't quite grasp that. He knew that he had been... Okay. He knew that he had been born by being delivered from his mother's womb. He knew the difference between being born and merely begotten. Something few theologians seem to know today. I'm going to come back to that. Jesus explained. Okay, well, let's just stop there. So is he saying a difference? Like, was Nicodemus like basically cesareaned out of his mother? Is that what I'm getting?
That like he's saying that begotten is when the sperm meets the egg, and they had no concept of that. They had no concept of that. They called
I agree with you.
And it's like, anyway, so to me, being begotten in Hebrew means to give birth. It's like when you look at the word, it's based on the word born, and so, or the word child. And so they gave a child, they had a child. And so that it's ridiculous in its word vomit. But I also wanted to say, when he says, of course, Nicodemus couldn't quite grasp that. No, he did. So people missed that. Like, people think that Nicodemus was like completely like blind. He wasn't. He was doing the typical question and answer thing that they would do in Socratic method, which is like constant questioning. And so when Christ said be born again, he responded with a question and said, so how can one be born again? He knew of the concept. There is a Hebrew concept of rebirth. So it's like, don't like when people look at Nicodemus, I'm sorry, like that no.
All right. I think you went out of my depth a little bit there, but
people just think that Nicodemus didn't know what Christ was talking about, and I totally believe he did.
Okay.
Have we established that Nicodemus is a real person? Can we start there?
I think he is. I can check real quick as we read. Go ahead.
Okay. Jesus explained, that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the spirit is spirit. Man is mortal. Man came from the ground. He is flesh, material flesh. Jesus was not talking about another physical birth, but he was talking about a spiritual birth, when man shall be spirit, be wholly composed of spirit. He shall then have been born of God. God is spirit, man is physical flesh. A human has to be begotten by his human father to be born again of the Spirit of God. One must first be begotten by the spiritual Father, Almighty God. I'm sorry, this is all just a bunch of BS words put together that don't make any sense and don't tell us any goddamn thing at all.
His theology is I agree with him in his theology here. However, I just have to really say real quick, Nancy, you're right. There is no historical reference to Nicodemus. I think that's interesting. I thought there was.
Nope, I've never found any.
And all of the spiritual birth, blah blah blah, physical whatever's, like that's just not even based in reality.
Right.
What it's not. It's just bullshit.
But I just wanted to say too, hey, that's me admitting that something I thought was not. Hey, I was wrong.
Good job, Joel.
No.
Hey, isn't that how we make a better world? Is we all kind of can be like, oh, okay, I guess I didn't know that.
Yes.
And that's how we can like let down.
And now
our,
I have
like,
to like throw
have
the
to be
Bible
right
down on the ground and like yell at you and say you don't know anything and then leave this chat.
Yeah, let's not do it that way. Let's see if we can do something better.
Yeah. All right, that's all you, Joel. The amazing comparison.
All right, the amazing comparison. Now, see how human begettal period of gestation and birth is the astounding identical type of spiritual. Him emphasizing the word type here is actually appropriate because it goes into typology. Typology is the connection of the Old Testament with the New Testament and the concept of everything leading to Christ. I don't follow that form of typology, although typology does have that avenue. And so him emphasizing type here is actually appropriate. So identical type of spiritual salvation, being born of God, being given eternal life in the kingdom of God, the God family into which we may be born. Each adult human is spiritually an egg or ovum. The spiritual ovum has a very limited lifespan of itself compared to eternal life, an average of some 70 years. But spiritual divine immortal life may be imparted to it by the entrance into it of the Holy Spirit, which comes from the very person of God the Father. This divine Spirit of God imparts to us also the divine nature. Heretofore, we have had only human fleshly or carnal nature. As the human sperm cell is the very... Oh, you have something to say?
It seems to me like he's saying that the female side of things is the very like physical part that doesn't last forever. And once the manly part with the spermatozoa comes in, well, that's the eternal, forever, long-lasting availability of whatever.
Damn straight, because I'm a man.
Except that makes no sense with the actual how an egg and a sperm behave in the world. As I said earlier, like my eggs have been around since 1979. Right? And like the sperm that made my kids got made that week. So if you want to talk eternal, it's the egg, fuckers.
I think I just lost my split.
I'm sorry, you're going to insert something?
As the human sperm cell is the very smallest of all human cells, even so, many newly begotten Christians start out with a very small measure of God's Holy Spirit. Many may still be at first about 99.44% carnal. Why 44 anyway?
That's the same purity level of ivory soap. That's important.
Really?
Yeah. 99.44. I'm serious.
That's why people in the WCG used ivory soap.
Holy fuck. Is that why he used it in this? Because everyone liked ivory soap?
Maybe it was, it's the time period.
Well, at least I thought, okay, anyway. So apparently those in the Church of God at Corinth were. The Apostle Paul said he still had to feed them on the spiritual milk, not yet adult spiritual food. Now, as the physical male sperm finds its way to and unites with the nucleus in the ovum, so God's spirit enters and combines with the human mind. There is, as explained above, a spirit in man. This human spirit is combined with the brain to form a human mind. God's spirit unites with. Yeah, and actually, it's funny because like Hebrew doesn't have a concept of this. And witnesses with our spirit that we are now the children of God, and God's Holy Spirit now combined with our human spirit in our mind imparts to our mind power to comprehend spiritual knowledge, which the carnal mind cannot grasp. Yeah, the word in Hebrew for mind is heart. They don't have a concept of the mind like in the head, like that.
Right.
So now we have
they didn't know science, because science
keeps
breaking spirituality and being like, oh, it's just normal. It's just how that works. That's science. Fuck.
You want another change? Is so Christ actually changes the Hebrew where it says you should worship the God with all your heart, mind, and strength. And the word mind is heart. And so like with all your heart. Anyway, so when he says it, he actually divides heart and mind. So it's really interesting. He actually inserts the word mind there. But anyway, he inserts it. So now we have found the presence of eternal life, God life through God's spirit, but we are not yet immortal spirit beings, not yet born of God, not yet inheritors and possessors, but physical heirs. But if God's Holy Spirit dwells in us, God will, at the resurrection, quicken to immortality our mortal bodies by his spirit that dwelleth in us. Now see how the astonishing analogy continue. As yet we are not born divine beings. We are not yet composed of spirit, but of physical matter. The divine life has been begotten. This divine character starts so very small, it is doubtful if much of it is in evidence, except for the glow of that ecstasy of spiritual romance, which we may radiate in that first love of conversion, spiritually speaking. But so far as spiritual knowledge and developed spiritual character goes, there is not much as yet. Oh, that was a hard one to read there.
So is getting filled with the Holy Spirit kind of like getting butterflies in a new love?
Kind of sounds like that's what he's saying. Yeah.
I mean, the feelings aren't that different, really.
But anyway, I do unfortunately have to go to my Greek class.
I'm sorry that you have to pop off now, but it sure was nice to see you.
Yeah,
I'm going to go read some of this really boring Bible stuff in Greek.
I hear you like that sort of thing, so.
Yes.
I do. It's all Greek to me. So I can't do it now because I'm frozen. So anyway, guys, I love this.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this next episode of the Unpack-It series that we do with Joel, MisterDiffiCULT. And we shall see you next time. Bye.
Like and subscribe.
Bye.
Love ya. Bye.
Bye, Vickett.
Bye, bastard.